Ludi's at school today because he's got a big exam. I don't know what in. Home economics or something like that for all I know. Anyway, just want to say that we got the Range Rover back in the shop. I made a little jig so I could lift it up at the front and push it in because it was a nightmare to move with no steering in. So I've done that, and of course if you can remember, where is it now? Ah, here we are, that's what you can't remember, this bit. We've got this piece off the old car. This is the front dash support, and what it means is we've got to take the window out again to drill out these spot welds in here, and then we're going to put that one here, that one into here, because this is just a bit of tin plate and I think it'll soon come out. But yeah, I cut the rubber out again because I wasn't going to take a risk on breaking the screen. The rubber's pretty cheap, but the screen's well over $1,000 by the time it gets here. They're kind of expensive. So I'm going to get on doing that today, and I've just worked out my bloody welders packed in, so I'm going to do that until lunchtime, and then see about getting that done. But I might just wait until Ludi comes back on Wednesday to help us get this panel in. I might be able to do it myself. I think it'll be alright. But anyway, that's how it's held in, just a series of spot welds. Now, something you might not have noticed, the lip on here is quite wide. The lip on here is quite narrow, and that's because this has had a rubber screen in, and that's meant for a bonded screen. So we're going to weld this in, weld that piece in, and then trim it back down again, perhaps with a plasma and a buffing disc. So it's not the end of the world, but it feels like it. Back soon. Having cut the weld out the corners in here, both ends, we can now use our dismantling tool, available in the shop, to take this off. And this is one of the reasons why I came up with this idea. I've already started round here. We can get into that door. And sometimes you find that there's spot welds that you just you've drilled out, but they won't break off, if you see what I mean. So we're going to go around all this panel and make sure that's off. So far, so good. There's something holding it on though. It's that one there, look. There you go. Oh, there must be another weld underneath. Back in a minute. There was a little bracket holding a nut and bolt on the passenger side. I think I've got all of them all off, but I'm not sure about here. I've got a feeling there's one just there. Now what I did was, when I was taking this off, I used I know we're in inches, not metric, but I used a 3/16 drill first to drill the centre of the spot weld out, and then finished it off with a 1/4. Why? Because I want a decent sized hole here for when I plug weld it back up again. So let me see if I can get a few things off here, and we'll see if we can capture the glory, if there is such a thing in this job. There's some little tricky MIG welds in here, but we've nearly got it out now. Oh, I should have taken that cable out. What the hell's that do? Oh, it's okay. Let me go around the other side. Hey! Kaput! wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad, that got it off. I've got to dress up this underneath here, get the high spots off, and take off some trims and things on the inside. Now we've got to lose this panel here with a resistor on, because that's where our blower's going to come through. So I've got quite a bit still to do, but it actually wasn't too bad actually. I was thinking it was going to be worse. So yeah, let's get that done. I hope it's going to fit. Well, it should do, because this panel's almost identical. I say almost, it's probably completely different. It's perfect. It fits like a glove. You would think it was made for this car. Yeah, no, it just went really well. I've got a series of vice grips on the top to hold it down, but you can see how far they extended the lip for a bonded screen. So my original idea of fitting a bonded screen to this wouldn't have worked, because the rest of the aperture, it wouldn't have fitted. Good job I didn't order one. So, rubber screening. Now you can see I can easily cut that down when it's welded, but the next thing we're going to do is really hold it in place. I'm going to use a series of tech screw. These little things here, these little chaps. Self-drilling screws. But what that will do, it'll pull that... Some of these are blunt, you know. You get a bad batch of them, they're bloody useless. There. And that will pull that panel even tighter whilst we weld it. It's just like spot weld. We can spot weld between it, but it'll stop it warping, if you see what I mean. So we'll do that. Do a few plug welds, take these out, and then you do the other side. That's all it needs. Good, eh? Easy job. When you're welding patches on cars, these are fantastic. Instead of using clamps, you just whiz them in with these, and then plug weld up the holes, and nobody will be able to see where you've been. Great little things. The only downside is that I've been using these over and over again, and consequently they're a little bit bumped. That's why they jump off. Anyway, I'll get on with that. And then I think I'll take my welder downtown to see if I can get it fixed. I don't really know what's wrong with it. It just stopped. But there's power getting to all the right bits, if you see what I mean. And I need it for plugging those holes up. But it's looking good. It's looking really good. And then we'll put a little bit of, we'll put a thin smear of seam sealer on the top, and like force it into the gap with our fingers, so that any water that does get in is not going to get in. And then on that seam there, we're going to give it a quick coat of galvanised spray, and then some black spray. That should keep the water out. So I just got back from the welding place, trying to find somebody to fix my welder, and well, I had to do with my little welder, I'm afraid, because they wanted 3 weeks before they could even look at it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I've plug welded up the holes. The next thing is we're going to run the disc cutter across the top, take that top edge off, and then buff it over. Now, before I welded it, I put some cold galvanised spray on there, both sides, so I don't know if it's going to work, but I thought to myself, if I paint it tonight, get some paint on it tonight, tomorrow morning I can put some cram rust proof in and get it right into there, and I shouldn't have to worry about that again. Ever. Amen. So our dash panel is all nice painted and on and looking smooth and ready to go. It should be pointed out that there is some horrendous gaps in these corners that were just full of putty. Typical for British Leyland, I suppose. Now, Inside you can see I've just tack welded on that panel there. It's only a support panel for the bottom of the dash, no great weight on it. And if you notice, I've just cut it completely out of the old tunnel and then just put one over the top of the other, and that was to keep it in line, keep the the distance and everything. It's not mission critical because there's big slots on everything, so it's okay. There was a bracket going across here, got that off. Then I went across to the other car and copied the holes here for the heater. One's for the air conditioning, one's for the heater pipes. This one here was for the wiring, but I realised that it's so close with that big round grommet on, I'm actually going to keep that one in and use that one again instead of making the hole bigger. No point, because the ECU is going to go at the top, not underneath. To mark that out, like I say, all you got to do is get your fingers dirty, which isn't too difficult in this job. Rub it over the hole and the dash of the other one, cut it out with an X-Acto, offer it up, and then with your hole saw you can cut the corners same as that one, and then all you got to do is with slitting saw come down here, across there, that's that done. We've got a few holes to plug up. What I'm going to do with those is just cut some little square patches, cover them over. Same down here, look, there's holes everywhere on this bloody thing. There's holes that's just too big for grommets, and this side is where the old steering, the right hand drive steering would go through. I think I might just tack a little patch across that and seam sealer it all up, and the same in these top corners under here, a little bit of seam sealer, a steel patch, and then seam sealer it. So we're getting there, I've got that side tacked up, I've got it to weld round for the pedal box, so let's get on and cut some holes. So there we go, that's a good day's work done. The panels are all in, all the brackets and the captive nuts are on for the heater. I've got to just make a little plate for that steering there, I forgot to do that one. The pedal box is in, so I think tomorrow we should have quite a good day in getting this done. Fortunately everything lines up nice, so that's good. Yeah, but it's looking good. So I think once you get the all the tools, look at all the bloody tools in there. I'm just sick, I can't be bothered with it now. Once we get everything back into place, I think it'll go quite quickly. I really do, I think it'll go really quickly. Probably might even get the dash in tomorrow with Ludi. So I'm going to give him a call, see if he's remembered to come. And then we can sort of build up all these doors and things like this. Those can be done as well whilst it's in the shop. And then we can make sure all the wiring for everything is working. Excellent. Oh, I've got I've got that. I've got to make a patch for under here because that's the old heater intake. I've got to block that off, and I've got to cut this out a little bit further around here. No big deal, but I'm just tired. I've had a day of it today. We'll have a look at it tomorrow. All right, see you later.